What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Beanball Podcast. This is episode 67. We are your host, Alan. And Alan, what's going on, my guy?
Not much, man. Just enjoying the fall, the weather change.
Right.
Over the weekend was pretty busy. We went to Greenbrier Farms, got some pumpkins. They're overpriced. Don't ever go there and pay for them. It's like $15 a pumpkin, dude. It's ridiculous.
Everywhere's like that, man.
That's crazy. And then Saturday, the day before that, we did the Muddy Boggin for Boobies and did the Power Wheels race. It was pretty cool, although some kid hit Peyton, slowed him down, but it's all good. What you been up to?
What was this weekend? I can't even remember. What was going on this weekend? I feel like I worked, but then I was off. Oh, we went to Zubu.
Oh, yeah. I saw you had the Ghostbusters car.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
We were there all day because of my nephews, little Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
We got there, I think, at 9:15. I think we left at like 3.
Oh, yeah.
We were done, they're like, oh, let's go play. It's like, great, here we go. Like 2 hours later.
Ooh, man.
Yeah.
What's funny is I saw you guys post a picture of the Ghostbusters car, and it was funny because we were on the way down to Carolina the same day on Sunday, I think.
Yeah.
And there was a Ghostbusters car down there too. It wasn't like out for anything. It was like at a shop.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I was like, man.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, and the kids got a little pumpkin per family.
Oh, okay.
It was cool. Like, a lot of the animals were out because it was a nice day. The lion, not lion, but the tiger was going back and forth like he was ready to eat some snacks with all the little kids and stuff. Zoe was really fond of the tiger, but it was awesome. It was a good day. So yeah. So let's go and get into some baseball.
All right. Well, let's start with the recap of the ALCS.
Man, this series was very interesting. The first, what we could say, 3 games.
Yeah. Well, you could say first 4 games.
Yeah.
It was 2-2, I believe, at that time.
Yeah. The first 4. Astros took game 1, but then Red Sox just obliterated the ball those next 2 games and 3, hitting grand slams and stuff.
Yeah, I thought they were unstoppable, man.
And then like they used all their power. Astros tied it up 2-2, and then they won the next 2 to head on to the World Series.
Well, yeah, after game 4, the Red Sox offense production just went straight downhill.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the next 2 games, the final 2 games, the Red Sox only scored 1 run.
Yeah.
You can't win like that.
No.
Especially when the other team puts up 14.
Yeah.
It's tough.
And it does help from the Astros pitching. They did pitch well those 2 games.
Oh, yeah.
To put their spot back to the World Series. So as like your Red Sox fan, you can't be too upset because you were picked to finish 4th in the AL East. You finished one, I think, was a top 5 worst teams because you had a top 5 draft pick, and you won 90-something games. You beat the Yankees in the wildcard game. You took out the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you lost 4-2 to the Astros. But your head's got to be high because you're just starting with a bunch of these young guys.
Yeah, hold your heads up high because that was no small feat. That's pretty good. Pretty good run.
Especially not having Chris Sale fully healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He was limited because he did finally come back towards the end of the season. But if he gets back to his old self next year, you add some pieces, it's, you have a lot of work. Like, you looking at who you got free agency-wise. Of course, JD is a player option, but he's not opting out of that deal. He's not going to make $19 million anywhere else.
Yeah, usually I would say in this position, the Red Sox are pretty primed to come back and be just as competitive. However, their division, like I said before, is one of the hardest in the game. And you know darn well that the Yankees, Tampa Bay, Blue Jays, maybe even the Orioles are going to be making big moves so they can be competitive as well. So it's going to be hard for the Red Sox to get back here next season.
Yeah.
But they are on the right track. Like you said, get some healthier players back, maybe add some pitching. You can always use that, and you might need some sluggers. But at the same time, you guys are looking good. Good position.
Like, most likely, Kyle Schwarber said he's happy. He's probably willing to come back. There is a mutual option that they can opt into for $11 million. That doesn't seem like a dumb move not to do it. So you got a couple other guys, question marks like, do you bring back like Christian Valdez, your catcher? Some relievers, a starting pitcher. So we'll see what they do this offseason. They have a bright mind up there in that, that president role. We'll see what he does. It's just insane that, you lose your manager for 1 year. Yes, it'll shorten year, but you were dog, and then you brought him right back, and he brought you within 2 games of the World Series.
Right, which is why he's going to solidify his position there for a while. He's going to be looking like, what's his name with the Yankees? They're going to be like, oh, we're going to keep him.
Yeah.
Regardless. Yeah, man.
So they're on the right track. It's nothing too it's unfortunate because you thought all those grand slams, like, oh, this could be it. And especially the conspiracy theories with the whole flags scenario. Have you heard of this one? So when they first broke the curse back in 2004, the World Series logo had little pendant flags in the logo.
Yeah.
In 2006 when they won, pendant flags in the logo. In 2013, flags in the logo. 2018 flags. There's no flags in the World Series logo this year, but they were in the ALCS logo. So everyone's like, if they win the ALCS but lose the World Series, there's the flag conspiracy. Well, they didn't end up winning the ALCS, so I think it squashed that. It's just a coincidence.
But you're saying there was flags in the World Series logo.
Not this year, but the previous years they won.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what was in ALCS.
They just didn't know that it was ALCS.
You could still say there's a conspiracy theory because if they bring the flags back to the World Series logo, then the Red Sox could be primed to win. How do we get this information so we can make bets next year?
Right.
Are the flags going to be on the World Series or not?
Like usually you think I forgot when they released the logo. Like this is something that we need to just go and put some money on just in case.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, with that being said, let's move on to the NLCS.
Well, let's be real. The NLCS possibly could have been the previous series with the Dodgers and Giants. That should have been 7 games. They shouldn't have played each other so early, but unfortunately for baseball, Dodgers were the lower seed and Giants were number 1 seed. And how that ended, that was just disrespectful. But Dodgers got to go, and of course, Braves handled business with the Brewers, so they got to go to their both a rematch of last year's NLCS, and Braves in 6 took it down. They're up 3-1, and everyone's wondering because last year they were up 3-1. Dodgers won the last 4 to take the series and go to the World Series. And it got a little worried there in Game 5.
Yeah,
our local boy Chris Taylor.
It sure did. Yeah, Game 5, like you said. Game 5, the Dodgers. They took it down pretty good.
Chris Taylor,
11-2,
3 home runs.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Face elimination, man.
And then the last game was a pretty tight one as well, where the Braves only took it 4-2. But these are hard fought. And what stuck out to me is that the Dodgers. We always think of them as the West Coast Yankees right now, and the Braves are kind of a little bit injured. They're missing Acuna, and they're not like
they're missing 2 big stars in my book. They're missing Acuna, of course. And then also Mike Soroka for the second year.
I think we all thought that this series might be 6 games, but the other way.
Yeah.
Or not even 6. I might have even thought 5 games. I might have given Braves 1.
Yeah.
But I'm super shocked that it came out like this. And that gives the Braves all the momentum going into the World Series. If you beat the best team in a game and now you're in the World Series, it's like this is a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
You would think. And especially, all that talk where they're like, no one from the NL East should be in the playoffs, how bad they were compared to
Agreed.
They had the worst record of the playoff teams in the NL this year.
But look what happened.
They're representing the NL.
Exactly.
It's baseball, man.
It's baseball, exactly.
But, Jock Peterson came in clutch the previous series and this series for them. And then, of course, one of the other multiple, outfitters they got that trade deadline. And, of course, the MVP of the National League Series.
Well, do you think Jock Peterson broke out because he's playing his former? And they were trying to get rid of him last season?
So the whole thing with the Red Sox going on, with Kiki, I was like, yo, if 2 Dodger players from last year they let walk end up being heroes for these 2 teams.
They might as well, though.
Kiki almost did it. But it's like, man, could have those been the 2 pieces that Dodgers were missing this postseason?
Besides
Max Muncy, of course, being hurt, and then other stars, but
right. And I don't even think they missed a beat because, like I said, they're such a stacked team. To be honest, you miss those 2 guys. I don't honestly see a big difference because your team has great players that are still playing. When I look at the lineup, I don't even know those guys are missing. It's because they're that good. So I don't think there's any excuses for the Dodgers.
Isn't.
No excuses.
When you spend $267 million and you don't even get to the World Series, that's a problem.
Right. And that's the problem we always say about the Yankees. We're like, hey, if you guys, it's win or nothing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing you start saying about the Dodgers because, like you said, they spent so much money and everybody up and down the lineup is pretty solid. Even on the bench, you got all-stars. So it's just like, well, if you guys can't get it done, that's on you. something else is going on because your team on paper is absolutely lethal.
Yeah.
And the Braves, they're injured themselves, and they don't have all-star backups. They got guys who are filling in.
They got a bunch of veterans that came in and stepped up.
And they got a struggling catcher situation. They got d'Arnaud. We love d'Arnaud,
which missed majority of the season because of injury,
and he wasn't hitting good at all.
No,
and he's not throwing people out either. Still, so that's not like a thing.
So he's not 100%. We can tell that.
So you got a Braves team that's beat up, and they're still taking care of business. Now you need to watch out, Houston.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go back to the Dodgers though. What are they going to do?
So with next to Dodgers, of course, the whole Trevor Bauer situation. One thing they got to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he can opt out, which we all know damn well he is not going to make roughly $45 million next year. So you have a lot of question marks with free agents because you think about it. Curtin Clayshaw, free agent. Max Scherzer's a free agent. Kenley Jansen's a free agent. Corey Seager's a free agent. Danny Duffy's a free agent. Joe Kelly's technically has a team option, but they got Chris Taylor, Jimmy Nelson, of course Cole Hamels, but that was then Albert Pujols, and a couple other low end names. But look at those two big ones right there at the top: Clayton Kershaw, Max Scherzer.
Exactly. Obviously, you know how I stand with pitching. I mean, you do need both to win, but pitching is going to keep you in.
Yeah.
So I absolutely think they need to lock up Kershaw. I feel like he's a lifer. They need to get Kershaw there to the end of his years. They definitely need to get Max Scherzer. That's a given.
And then there's it's interesting little bit of news that's kind of leaking out there that the injury with Clayton might be career ending. Some people are hearing.
Well, if it's going to take him out like Justin Verlander's been taken out, then yeah, because he's already up there.
Yeah, we'll see if they have to Tommy John. Then that's next year. He's that's out.
Maybe he comes back as a closer.
So we'll see with that, and then and then you lose your closer too. Technically, I think they will re-sign him. Roughly he was he made $20 million last year. We'll see what the value is for him this year. But yeah, Max definitely
probably in
earned.
The same range.
I don't see Max going anywhere unless he's provoked to a winning team. Well, at this time, it's not the money; it's about winning. He wants to win more.
Well, he's on the right team to win.
Yes.
And given what he did for his career this postseason, coming out into the pen to throw and then showing that emotion, I think he's with this team, man. He's sold.
Which I think that could have messed up the Dodgers too.
It could have,
because he was scratched from Game 6.
I agree. You're right, and that was a big
deal. And had to
deal.
make Buehler go on short rest for I think the second or third time, which is pushing a young arm.
But just imagine what you just said. Buehler had to go. The Braves don't have this kind of ace can go at any time. Oh, short rest.
They would have if they're all healthy.
But what I'm saying is that Max Scherzer would have had to go too. I'm just saying is that look, you guys are in a good position.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't want to hear any excuses from the Dodgers. You just didn't get it done, especially against the Braves.
No,
I mean the way the Braves are set up, yes, they're good, but they're not supposed to lose or beat the Dodgers like this. So look, I don't know what the Dodgers need to do next season. I think they need to lock up the people they have and keep on moving because their team, the way it is right now, is ready for a World Series run.
Yeah, and the question is, does Corey Seager walk or does he stay? He's ready for his first payday, but that's why they brought Trey Turner as well to be a backup just in case he does walk.
Yes, let him walk. In my opinion, Trey Turner is the best.
And then you got to, get to play with that long lineup of all these players you got. Who's going to play second then? Because, Trey's been playing mostly second since being acquired. So he most likely will go back to short, and then you can play with the lineup and who plays second.
And I feel like the Dodgers are in a good position with a good problem. Yeah. Yes, you got all these free agents coming up, but yes, you guys are willing to spend money, have shown us that you can, and you can put together a great team. So I'm not worried at all. They're going to figure it out. That's not the issue. That is not the issue at all. So I don't know what else. If whatever they do in the offseason, we'll find out sure enough. But they need to lock some people up. And they need to get it done again. That's all I'm saying. They should have repeated. This should have been a repeat.
They were, if anyone's going to be team recently in the years, this was the team that we thought that could actually
absolutely
do it. And then I guess the other biggest question, that bench bat, utility guy Chris Taylor, what he's done this postseason, is he get paid? Does he get pride?
He needs to get paid
from the Dodgers.
Yeah. He absolutely.
It's going to be interesting. See if he gets offered somewhere.
Well, what's he? I mean, he's more of a third baseman, right?
He's been playing more outfield recently.
Okay. Well, he could play anywhere, like you said.
Yeah, he's a big utility guy.
Exactly. He's like a Kadire, but he can hit better. I mean, Kadire was a great hitter. Don't let me get run. He had like a Silver Slugger award. But I'm just thinking of the utility guy that comes to mind. Yeah, somebody who could play any position is kind of like that. So yeah, that'd be great for him.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm sure there are a lot of teams that could use a utility player. Oh my gosh. Comes to mind the Angels. I don't know. I'm just saying, people like that.
There's going to be some interesting because if Dodgers don't offer him a fair deal, and he goes test free agency, and they get some large money.
And he could get paid.
He could get paid.
Yeah, absolutely, he could get paid. I could see him end up on a team like the Cubs or something. Even I'm just saying, whoever's willing to spend a little bit of money can get a solid player to help put their team together.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe he even goes to the Yanks. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, they got a good problem. But in my opinion, the Mets are in a good situation too. So I'm not going to take anything away from that because we could be built to win too.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing with the Dodgers also, their luxury tax was way over this year. So if they do it again, unfortunately, they're going to lose a draft pick or whatever.
They don't care. I don't think. Look, like I said, these guys are starting to remind me of the Yankees.
Who knows if the deal's changed with the new CBA,
right?
With the whole tax thing. So,
but I'm just saying is that they could care less about losing a draft pick. These guys are getting players who are ready to roll.
Yeah.
like they're willing to give up the farm to be the now. So that's what I think they're at. Yeah. They're not worried about bringing a prospect up. They got the squad.
Yeah.
All right.
So let's go next into the actual AL champions, the Houston Astros.
Yeah, man. What do we got going on with the Astros?
So you think about on paper, they lost Springer last year. Verlander went to injury, so he was missing the whole season. So you look at this team like, who is going to step up as pitching? Greinke missed a lot of time this year. So, but the young guys have stepped up. The three big bats most of the season have stepped up. And, of course, the three people that's been there from the 2017 World Series team, you're talking about Bregman, Tuve, and then, of course, Carlos. So those three have stepped up, especially Carlos in contract year.
Well, right. Agreed.
But
what I'm getting at right now, they're in a situation. So, by the time we air this, we're through Game 2 of the World Series.
We're during on right now.
So what I'm getting at is for the Astros to win, they got to show up.
Yes.
Altuve and Bregman are kind of slumping right now.
Well, Altuve, Bregman, and Carrera, when they lose so far this postseason, I heard a stat on the way here that their batting average is .085.
That's what I'm saying.
They're not doing nothing, they lose.
That's what I'm
saying. When
saying.
They're hot,
Absolutely.
Look at this games against the Red Sox and all them. Like, they crushed them and the White Sox. So it's like, if they're not involved, they're a terrible team.
Right. Your core three guys have to be the ones making moves, or they're going to be a hard time winning this game. So, yeah, they got to get out of the slump. And this is not the time to slump. You only have 7 games. 4 guaranteed.
Well, I'll say Bregman hit a sacrifice, so they score, but then Travis d'Arnaud just hit a solo home run to tie the game.
Boom. And we were just talking about d'Arnaud.
Yeah.
So d'Arnaud has been struggling, but look at that. That's a big hit, and that's
it's
what
only
keeps
top
you in
second, so it's tied yet again. So this is going to be an interesting game.
Right. But like I said, if
those
the
guys
Astros
have
to show up. Yeah, exactly.
And then you go to the bullpen. They're both, they have a solid bullpen. Starting pitching is good, not great, but when you have an infield that they got, defensively, you can have good pitching to get you by.
Right. We're not expecting to see pitchers duels here. We're expecting to see a little bit of action.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that.
And this is
like
arguably the best offense in baseball this year, especially when you had the AL batting champ is batting 7th in your lineup. And it's not one of your big guys. It's just a core guy that's playing outfield, and then you have, of course, the 2019 Rookie of the Year, finally fully healthy after missing last season, playing a whole 2 games before injury. You can see why he won Rookie of the Year, because what he's been doing this postseason.
Yeah.
Balls the opposite way, home runs, they are a dangerous team on paper offensively. But their big three has to show up for them to win.
Exactly. So what does it take about the Braves?
The Braves, they're scrappy.
They definitely are scrappy.
We've watched this team come up, and I've met some of these guys coming up through the AAA ranks and stuff. And when they got there 4 years ago, the first division title, they're about a year early, a lot of people thought. And now they've won 4 straight divisions after it looked like they were going to lose this year, but the Mets and the Phillies didn't have a big enough lead, so they retooled, got 4 outfielders.
Yep.
They played 600 baseball the rest of the way and got their division title for the 4th straight time.
And they've done this missing at least 2 or more of their key guys.
Yes.
Acuna Jr., in my opinion, is the best player on their team.
Yes.
He is out. Also, they had a domestic issue, I think.
Yep.
With
Azuna.
So there's another good guy out.
And then Mike Soroka, their young ace.
Exactly.
Got hurt again, so he's missing too.
So like I said, there's no excuses to why the Dodgers or somebody else can't step up. But the Braves are scrappy, so scrappy that they're now in the World Series fighting for the dub.
Yeah. Because you think about it, like when I said, Max Muncy's hurt, and then Trevor Bauer, like, well, don't forget, Azuna was the whole scenario.
Exactly.
Also, and then, having arguably one of the top 5 best players in the world go out of injury, and you replace him with 4 guys that have put it together, it means you have faith in his team, and they're doing it. Unfortunately, they did lose Charlie Morton last night to a linebacker the rest of the series.
Which, if you're going to lose him, this would be the best time to lose him because you only got to finish out a couple more games.
And you got the dub, so technically you got to win.
That's what I'm saying. It's
technically.
It's not like you need to go a couple more series. This is it. So I'm okay with it. They should be okay with it.
You lost in one game. You got that dim, so now you just need 3 more wins. Do you believe in your staff to get 3 more wins? Oh yeah.
And like you said, game 1, he got injured. He got if you guys haven't seen, he got hit with a comebacker, 102 mile an hour.
Played
to the leg
for at least 1 more inning.
I think he broke something.
Yeah, broke his leg. Yeah.
And then I believe I'm going to ruin his name. I think it's Ben Minter came in or something like that. He crushed it, man. He absolutely took care of business. I think he threw like 3 innings, 2 3/4 innings.
Yeah,
he gave 1 run.
I think I was changing my daughter, and then came back to him like, "Where's Morton?" And I had to go on Twitter. And the next thing you know, when the news came out that he broke, I'm like, "What the hell?" And I had to go back and watch. I was like, "That hurts," because it technically gets one of his former teams. This is what he was brought to Atlanta for, to pitch these big moments. He's game 1 starter, and then be taken out after 2 innings. I think 2 1/3.
AJ Minter. I'm getting his name all screwed up.
but like I said, they got the win. So now you're looking at all your other young guys and stuff like Max Fred's going tonight. You need to get 3 more wins, and I think they have complete faith in that system. So,
all right. Well, now that we've touched base on the 2 teams into the World Series, let's get into the matchup.
And look at the matchup. This is like script, because this could be one of the last years for the Houston Astros.
We've been saying this. We've been saying this for the last year.
Yeah, like this could, with Springer leaving first. Like you're like, okay, like is this the beginning of the end for Houston's deep run for those terrible years of high draft picks? They got the right guys. Could this be it? You're thinking about Dusty, like he's under a 1 more year contract. Could this be his last hurrah as a coach? Of course, you're missing Verlander, Greinke. You got that question mark. He's getting up there. So, and then you look at this young Atlanta, which you figured can be there. They were a win away from being here last year, and they couldn't get done. So you figured that they would be right back, and it didn't look good. But then now they're back. The matchup on paper looks great. The biggest thing for Houston, if they can get Braves to their bullpen first, they can take the series because they are an offensive team.
Agreed.
Now, if you look on paper, starting pitching, you go to the Braves probably. Bullpen, you kind of lean towards the Braves too, ish, but the offense, on paper, you think you can look at Houston has the better offense. That's why I honestly think it's going 7, and for that paper, I'm still going to stick with it, even though they lost game 1. I still think Houston's going to end up taking it in 7. They're not too beat up by losing game 1. We'll see if they go down tonight. Then that's going to make it difficult to try to come back from 0-2. I know you're going to go with Braves because you do not like Houston as well, but you do like this young Atlanta team, especially of our division rivals.
Right. Yeah. And usually I don't root for the rivals, but I don't dislike the Braves as much as I dislike the Nationals and the Phillies.
Yeah.
So, and I don't really care about the Marlins. So yes, I am rooting for the Braves, and I do got them going in 6. If they win tonight, possibly 5. But
yeah, to not have to win 2 out of 3 games in Atlanta.
But I definitely understand what Alan's saying. The game could go 7, and the Astros could win, because it's not like the Braves aren't one of those stacked teams. They don't have like a shutdown pitching squad rotation. So I do expect a lot of runs to be had. So it depends on who shows up, and I think the Braves can match them and show up and take advantage. Which like we said, anything can happen in this World Series. But I'm going to go with the Braves in 6. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, and then if you look at on paper, I'm kind of like, I would love for Dusty to get his first World Series as a manager. He's got one as a player.
Oh, he made it.
But it's like full circle because, his first what is it? His first major league club that he made to the show was with the Braves.
Yeah.
His mentor was Hank Aaron.
Yep.
And, it's Hank Aaron passed away this year, and now Braves are in the World Series. And, of course, the manager for Atlanta, he's been Atlanta guy for 40-something years between a minor league player, the minor league coach, working his way up. It's like, this is a great script. And then I laugh with the pregame show.
Uh-huh.
For some reason, the World Series in the years that end one are special. And they went through, like, all of them. But, back, of course, they went to, like, the more recent ones, like 91, that 10-inning game. Braves end up losing to the Twins in Game 7. It's like, okay, yep. Then they're like, 0-1. I said, oh yeah, the Yankees Arizona game, the bloop single to end up walk off in the 7th after, of course, 9/11. I'm like, okay. Then, of course, 2011, Ron Washington knows this one all too well, is when Texans should have won the World Series twice in 2 games, but they came within a swing away and lost that game.
I don't even get started on that one. That one's crazy.
Yeah. So, and then now we're at 2011. 21. Like, what do we do? Like, is this one going to be special?
Well, I'm going to tell you why this one already is special. We have a matchup that's pretty cool. The Astros hitting coach, Troy Snitker,
is the son
of the Braves manager, Brian Snitker. That's pretty dope, man.
Yeah, because I think they made a joke like, well, no one's going to win the World Series, so we'll see whose house is going to be at. I'm like, that's hilarious.
But anyways, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome.
It's interesting, Of course, tomorrow is a travel day. Then Atlanta, of course, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
Then, if necessary,
that's
travel
where it
day.
Is. Not necessary.
Well, hopefully it is necessary. And then, if we need it, Game 6 on Tuesday, and then Game 7 will be this time next Wednesday.
The series will be over on Sunday.
If they lose tonight, that's a good possibility.
Yeah, they got to win tonight. You guys got to win. Well, speaking of games that need to be won, let's go into the Game 1 recap of the World Series.
Man, this got off real quick.
Yeah, you just take a break. You go get a drink before you think something's going to happen.
Okay, 3 pitches in, like, oh, what happened?
Yeah, you just hear a bunch of noise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first batter, and I think that's also a record as well. First batter of the World Series hits a home run.
Yeah.
I think, isn't that
I'm
some kind of record?
Yeah.
I think they said something like that. And then they end up scoring 2 in the first. The Braves do.
Yep.
The Astros don't match it. So now we're thinking, oh, man, this is starting out pretty solid. And the next thing you know, we're looking at a 5-0 game. So, yeah, how do you feel about that? Especially, what is going through your mind, especially if you're the Astros?
Yeah, because I figured on paper, especially Houston, the Game 1 starter, Valdez, went last game. He was lights out against the Red Sox.
Yeah.
So I figured, like, okay, this could be their game. They take Game 1.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta has Max Fried Game 2. They could possibly take that. We'll go 1-1, go to Atlanta.
Exactly.
And to get to them early, I'm like, okay, that's how you set, don't let up. And then it's like, okay, we're 5-0.
Yeah, when you go 5-0.
I'm like, well, if anyone can come back from, we've seen it's been this Houston team. Like, okay.
Right.
But
you didn't get here for
like we just said earlier, the core 3 went 0 for 12.
Yeah.
With like 6 strikeouts.
I mean, granted, they did get 8 hits to the Braves 12.
Yeah.
But it's too little too late. Yeah.
The other 4 guys on that lineup.
Exactly. Nobody to hit in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, once you're down 5-0, it's kind of hard to rally the troops, man. It's kind of thinking, well, this is a long grind to get back in here. Granted, they had a lot of time left, but once you look into the 7th inning and it's still 5-1, now you're really worried.
Yeah.
And it's tough to come up from that.
Yeah. And when you lose Charlie Morton, your bullpen takes care of business. So now you're looking at tonight's game, like Max Fried needs to go deep to give a bullpen some.
Yeah. If I'm the Braves, I think it's got to go 7.
He needs to go at least 6. Yeah. 7 would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just thinking just to give some guys some rest. I would like to see him go 7.
So if you think about if you're Houston, if you get to him early, you got to make that bullpen come out earlier. You can add some runs.
That's key.
And then get 1-1 to go to Atlanta.
Right. So if I'm the Astros right now, Game 2, my game plan has to be aggressive. I'm thinking that the guys in the slump, you guys got to do whatever it takes to get on base. Whether you get hit by the ball, you get walked, you be selective, or you go out there and you got to swing at the first pitch. You can't let the good one go by.
Yeah, look at if they're shifting on you, even bunt
exactly.
to get on base, to figure out a way just to get on base.
Yeah, you got to get on base, whatever it takes. That's what I'm saying. If you're Altuve, you got to bang on the can or something. You got to lean in, take one, do something, man, because you need people on the base. And if your bottom half is the ones producing, then you need to get on base for sure so they can have an opportunity to hit you in. Either way, like you said, you know that they had to go to the bullpen early last night. You need to get all over Max Fried. That way, they take him out and you have a better shot.
Yeah, the only person you think about, when they substituted for Charlie Morton's injury, they got another, a bullpen guy. So he might be a little fresher, but still,
I'm saying the last thing you need is to look up at the scoreboard and you guys are down by a couple runs and Fried has like 10 Ks on you or something. Now you're like, oh man, and then you got to go back to their home and take care of business. You got to take at least, if you lose tonight, you absolutely have to take 2 games over there.
Yes.
Well, obviously you do, but I'm saying you cannot let off the pedal.
No.
Your back's against the wall at that point.
Yeah. 0-2 to go into not even like uncharted territory. It's not your home. It's not like it's like, okay, we're down 0-2. Let's go home for 3 games, take care of business. You lost 2 at home.
And then you're on the road for 3, which means you must take 2 at their home.
And now you lost home field advantage.
Exactly.
Because now it's 3-2.
Yeah.
Not good.
Right.
So we'll see what they handle it.
Yeah, I mean, it's early. Right now as we talk, was it still tied up?
Nope.
Uh-oh, what we got going on?
Houston now has scored 3 runs in the bottom of the second.
See?
And 1 out.
See, that's what you got to do. You got to be aggressive.
Let's see what they did. Let's see. Carlos Correa struck out. Kyle Tucker singled. Guerrero singled. Jose Siri singled on a ground ball. Tucker scored. Martin Machado singles. Scored 2 on an error. And now Altuve's up at bat with only 1 out with a man on second. So
he
they got to Fred.
He cannot hit into a double play here.
So Fred, let's see. He is at 31 pitches with 1 1/3. Of course, have given up 4 runs.
Yes, but the question is, it might not be how many pitches he has. It might be, do they need to take him out because of the damage control?
Yeah.
So if Altuve here hits a bomb or hits a double or anything like that, now it's time to get the
5-1
bullpen warmed up
through second 2 innings.
Yeah, save him for a later game. Now that you don't have Morton, you might need to save him for like a game 6 or something. So you might want to take him out, let him regain his stuff, and get the bullpen out there. It just depends. It all depends on what happens here with Altuve. Like I said, if Altuve gets on and he does something special, it's time to start thinking about taking him out.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
let's get into some other news around baseball. It's not just the World Series going on, but there is slowly news coming out, and a lot of it's kind of leaking about the new CBA. Some stuff is getting touched with, or what MLB is thinking. The first one is a new streaming service could be on the way.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's not just MLB. MLB is teaming up with the NHL and NBA to start a streaming service so that, like here in Norfolk, we don't have to have a blackout while we're trying to watch our Mets play the Nationals.
Is great, because I can't stand listening to them.
So, and I heard horror stories in Vegas and stuff. You can't watch a lot of your teams. In California, I couldn't imagine the blackouts because you're in Dodger area, this area. God. So, but this could be something groundbreaking because this is what a lot of fans said over the years, the blackouts and stuff that needs to stop. And you think about it, if you want to go out to the young crowd, a lot of us are cord cut. I know you just now cord cut.
Yeah. I'm got apps. That's it.
Yeah, and that a lot of people we don't need all those channels and stuff. And
exactly. And
this is getting forward. So I was wondering when's going to happen. Look like they're in their future. Hopefully the next year or 2.
Yeah, it says that they're discussing the service for 2023, which would allow fans who have cut the cord to watch their team's home games in the market without a cable provider, which is great because, like you said, some of us don't have cable, or we don't want to listen to the other team's announcers. Like for example, we're Mets fans, and here Nationals get all the hype. So when the Nationals play the Mets, we have to listen to the Nationals announcers, and they got to be the worst announcers in baseball.
Or you get to put on TV, like sometimes I do, and turn on the Mets radio, and it's sometimes a little delay, but
exactly,
it's better than listening to the Nationals commentators sometimes. And it's unfortunate, when there's a big moment here recently, they used to let you on the app see this big moment, but this year they blocked me because I think John Means no-hitter, I try to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
They blocked it. Oh, you're in a blackout. I'm like, dude, it's a big moment. You've never done this before, but I guess this year was different.
So, yeah, I mean, like you said, they're reported that the MLB's talking with NBA and NHL, and it would be a subscription around $10 to $20 per month, which, it could be a little high. But if you're getting all the games for Major League Baseball, NHL, and NBA, it might be worth it.
That is worth it because you think about it, Baseball, I think it was $120 this year for the package.
Right, and then NHL was probably a couple $100, a little bit less.
I know.
Yeah.
Your wife does it.
Well, we don't now because we got ESPN Plus, and ESPN Plus has an NHL package.
They got the
which is
NHL
a lot
contract
better. It's
this
real
year.
cheap. It's like
But and then NBA, I believe they're all about the same price. The only one who's ridiculous is the NFL, which we can go into that shit show of what it costs.
So if you take all those into account, if they charge $320 a month, it's not terrible.
It'll be saving you money because if you buy all three, roughly right now, you're paying about $300 a year for all three, roughly.
Or probably a little bit more. What's NBA?
I think they're about 120, 110 as well.
So we're talking about 300,
about 350.
350. Okay.
So if you're doing $20 a month, you're talking about $240. It's going to save you some money.
And if it's cheaper than that, if it's the $10 range, then it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Because it'd be just like you buying one, getting two free.
Yeah. I'm almost certain it'll be anywhere from 15 to 20. I don't see it being any cheaper. I don't see it being 10, especially if you get all three.
Right.
If it's 10 per league, then it'd be $30 total for all three. Then you're thinking that's $360, which is about what you pay now.
Yeah. And I mean, if you got a sports guy, it makes sense. If you got somebody who just likes NBA, because, a lot of people who are watching NBA or watching the NHL or MLB, they don't cross over.
Yeah.
But some people who are all about sports, they're going to watch all three, and it's great.
And it could be like if you want one, it's this
might be
month,
a cheaper rate. There you go. Yeah.
Or two, or if you want to do all three, it's this rate.
Right. As long as it's still a deal, then it makes sense.
It makes sense. I'm excited. I hope it happens. So we'll keep an eye on that.
All right.
The next one is very exciting. We have talked about this all season. That something needs to change.
Absolutely, man.
And news finally came out. It was like happiness for us baseball fans, especially us in minor league towns.
Definitely a feel-good situation, man. So the MLB owners or the teams come by and they said that they're going to start providing housing for minor league players, and this is huge.
This is about time.
Right?
This has been a behind for years now.
Right,
especially over the years,
but it's been getting worse.
Worse.
Because now this year we've heard reports of people living in their cars because they can't afford housing, and the amount of money that some of these minor league players are getting, you can't afford housing. It's just like unreal.
Yeah.
So it's about time now they can live comfortably with. They can take that stress off their shoulders so they can focus on the game, which is what they should be doing.
Yeah. And of course, there's not much details right now. There's they don't know if they're going to give them like a per diem per month or if they're going to just get the houses through themselves. Honestly, I think it'd be better for them to get the housing because you think about it. If you got guys going up and down, so on top of stress of them getting called up or sent down, they have to find a place to live now because you get per diem.
Right.
Instead of like, oh, this is your room. Here's the keys.
Especially if you're locked into a long-term contract. You can't just leave and be like, oh, you're still on the lease. So, yes, agreed. They need to get their own housing, just like any other team would.
Like you would report to the stadium when you first get called up.
Yeah.
Here's your keys. This is the location of your house.
Right.
Da, da, da.
This is your roommates because you're going to be in a house with other people. You're not getting a one-bedroom by yourself.
No.
I mean, unless you're the top shit guy, I don't know.
Unless you got some place downtown where your team already owns like a apartment tower where you rent out a floor to your team.
You know what? Maybe you give them the option. You say, hey, do you need us to provide housing? And if you do, okay.
We provide
But if
this.
you're one of those guys who has a $15 million signing bonus, do you need housing? If you don't have to. Don't
and then
force
also like some players where they might be bringing their significant other.
Exactly.
They might want to find their own place.
Right.
Okay, we'll give you per diem.
But
this is what you're allowed to spend. You come up with the difference, I guess.
I don't know if they're giving per diem because, like I said, this is something fairly new, and they want to be as cheap as they can. So they might say, look, you either get the housing that we're going to provide because it's better than your car, or you're on your own. I mean, maybe they give them a little stipend, like you said. I don't know.
Well, they'll have to figure out. We'll see the details, but at least
they're on the right track.
They're in the right track. Houston has scored one more time. Is now 5-1.
It's time to start thinking about taking him out.
Another single. It wasn't a Tuve. He lined out.
Okay.
Michael Brentley.
Oh yeah.
Hit a single.
He's always been a solid guy, man. He's like a 5-time All-Star, I think.
So it's
Michael
now 5-1. Bregman just ground out. So now they're through second. It is 5-1 Houston.
They're done with the second inning.
Yep, it's just finished.
They're gonna let him go back out there. But if he struggles, any sign of struggling,
someone's gonna be warming up.
Yeah, they might even start thinking about warming up now. They're probably talking to him. Hey man, can you still go? Because
how do you feel?
If you give up one more run, we got to take you out. We can't go up here 6-1.
That's a big hole for Atlanta because Atlanta's been scrappy where 4 or 5 runs is about what they scored. You're now down 4 runs.
Right. But as we've seen, they can make it happen. Look, anything happens in the World Series. I'm not counting anybody out, and it's early, man. We're talking about
game 2.
Well, game 2, and it's only the second inning.
Yeah.
So, all right. Let's keep on trucking on.
Some good news. Guy that we loved growing up. This is awesome. a lot of these, players said they always want to be owners and stuff. Well, add someone else to a name, a 90s icon, hat backwards wearing, Ken Griffey Jr. has joined the Seattle Mariners ownership group.
Awesome. That's awesome.
That is.
One of my favorite players, definitely the best swinger I've ever seen.
And especially with a team that has a very bright future, as we saw this year.
Exactly. And Ichiro's over there as a part-time hitting coach
like
or something.
Like some scout, something like involved with the team.
I like it.
Ken Griffey has a statue out front of what he did. Now he's a part owner.
That's awesome, man.
This is something where it gets you more excited. Like players like, look, this could be you. Like, it's awesome. Someone iconic as, Ken Griffey is now involved in the game. He has been the last couple of years, but now he is an owner of one of the hottest teams that's going to be here recently. I can't wait to see what they do next year. But, Seattle Mariners, the time is hot now.
It is. It really is, man. It seems like all the momentum's going in their way. And they are bringing back guys who are contributors. And even the young kids who are going to be going through the system, they could see Ichiro and Griffey. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think they're definitely on the right track, man.
Yeah. This is a very exciting team, especially, was it last year with that whole controversy of the president saying that, we didn't bring people up because they want to sign long-term deals and being kind of racist comments and stuff about their former players. So this is now showing the right way where Seattle's going. And, man, they can only go up from here.
Yeah, man.
Because that price probably could increase after next year if they can make a deep run.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I said, man, Griffey had the best swing I've ever seen, but the second best swing from a lefty from right now has got to be Shohei Ohtani. That swing is just as good, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing he's missing is like the stare down on it. The finisher.
Yeah, watching it and
but
stuff.
I just like the way he stands tall and just like crushes it. All right, man. Well, that's awesome news for Ken Griffey. Well, let's talk about some less awesome news.
So, when I first sent this talking points out, it looked like we had a front runner now for president operations as a Mets fan. Like, okay, finally, we have someone. Well, it came out today that they were denied to interview. So it's like this is now like the fourth or fifth guy that we have inquired.
Yeah.
Got denied or turned down the offer. Like,
right.
What is going on?
Yeah, I don't see why it's so hard for the Mets to find a president of baseball operations.
Some people are thinking that this is more of a blackball by the league, by other owners, not letting Steve, because they're afraid that if Steve gets the right guy, that they can win a World Series quick and be a dominant team.
Well, look, man, I'm going to tell you what. There are plenty of options. He's going to find a guy. So I'm not even worried about that.
It's just unfortunate. Like, okay, and then it's like, okay, we have this guy. Like, nope, got denied. It's like, come on, okay, well, this one. Oh, okay, this name's get floated out there. Cool, let's see it. Nope, he pulled his name now. I'm like, come on.
Well, and that's
so
fine.
now it's like, do we do a 180 and go back to Theo Esping and like, look, you want 5%? Let's offer you 3% of ownership.
That's not happening. You might as well go ahead and cut that right now.
So
I don't think they're that desperate. Look, if you look at the team and look at how they've been projecting and going and look at the players on the team, somebody's going to want this opportunity and they're going to be hungry for it.
So I think they're almost going to give up on president of baseball operations here soon, in about a week or two. Because you think about it, within like the next week is the GM meetings.
Yeah.
So you're going to want a GM for those meetings. So within the next, I think, couple of days, if they can't find someone they really, really love for baseball, they'll probably, switch their attention just to hire a GM for now. They can hire baseball operations after they get the GM.
Yeah.
But I think the real big scenario is getting a GM right now because we're game 2 in the World Series. GM meeting, the hard work of being a GM starts after the World Series is over.
Agreed.
So I think it might be time to go and start focusing on that job instead of trying to get someone to president, then become a GM. It's unfortunate, but I just hope we get someone because this is just getting ridiculous. Hearing names getting denied and names pulled like thank you but no. I'm like, what is going on? This is a owner that's willing to spend. Big club.
Exactly.
I'm like, okay, something's going on. And that's why people are thinking it's something with the league, like the other owners not liking Steve that much. But even though you just vote him to become an owner. It makes no sense, but we'll see. We'll see what's going on. So, but we do have our first, manager hire. And what's funny, this is actually the last manager who got fired. The Cardinals filled the position, and they brought in a very familiar face, their bench coach from last year.
Yeah, they brought in Marmol, Oliver Marmol,
Yeah.
He's a young guy. He's 35.
Very young.
He's going to be the youngest active manager in the game on opening day.
I thought the craziest stat was he was drafted in the same draft as Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah, so like I said, he's 35 years old. I mean, if you look at their lineup, they got Yadier Molina, who's 39, and Adam Wainwright, who's 40. This guy's 35, and he was drafted by St. Louis in 2007.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. Pretty good turnaround. I mean, obviously, he's probably better as a coach. He's been with them for like the last 2 years, I believe, as
the bench coach. Yeah.
Yep.
So this was a front runner when the shocking of letting their manager go. It's like, okay, well, this is probably a front runner, and then sure enough, they went with him after even talking to a few guys. But they believe is their guy, that he understands what direction they want to go in the future. So if you're excited about it, I don't know if Cardinals fans, but you believe in him, it could be like a Brave situation. This guy who's in the organization forever, you believe in him, so you give him the job, and he does well.
Yeah,
they have they made the playoffs this year. Unfortunately, they came up short against the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
So you think about you have the team for next year.
They had a great run too.
You might need to add a piece or two. We'll see what
They definitely need to add a piece. The reason that they were in the position they were in is because of that long win streak.
Yeah,
I mean that was
that
huge.
17-game win streak. Yeah.
They definitely have room for improvement. They're going to need it. I don't even think they might not even contend next year. They got to get some pieces if they want to.
Yeah.
Like I said, if not, they might fall behind a little bit. They might lag. This year was kind of a fluke, if you ask me. I do think that they're in the right direction. They just need to add a couple more pieces to be solidified. But yeah, we'll see what they can do. I mean, you got a new manager, got some new blood in there. They have faith in him. Like you said, he was the favorite, so they like the guy. So that's a good start. But then again, you might be losing. Is Yadier retiring this year?
No, one more year after the season.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying
one more year,
because once you lose him, I mean, he is like he's running the game. He's been the guy calling the game forever. So, and he's one of the best to do it. So you lose him, now you're in a real situation because you got to find a catcher who's that good.
I hope that's part of their plan.
They got to. You got to get.
Part was that's like
they better draft. They better draft one now or get one in the.
Yeah,
I don't know what they need to do, man.
It's gonna be interesting because they had Carson Kelly. They ended up trading to Arizona because Yadi wasn't slowing down anytime soon. Like, well, we got this top prospect. Let's do something with him. But so we'll see what they do. There's got to be a plan. That's why they let their manager go because they didn't agree on certain stuff. But they got their guy. We'll see if he goes with flow. See what happens this offseason. Congratulations for the job. So this one kind of started to get leaked today. The A's might be staying in Oakland.
Okay.
And I think that's possibly why Billy Beane turned down the Mets job. Because he said he's Oakland for life, and what we were hearing was going to Vegas, and he was possibly interested in the Mets job. And then his excuse, he pulled a family out because of his family. Okay. I'm like, but you're talking about Oakland, then you'd have to move anyways. Now it's coming out like, oh, there's a $12 billion deal for them to build this new stadium.
Well, it's about time.
So I'm like, oh, did y'all learn your lesson?
They had to. Think about it. When you start seeing all your teams go to Vegas, what are you supposed to do? If you want to keep them, you got to build a stadium. Is Oakland? Which one of those stadiums is the ones that share the same as like a baseball field? Is that Oakland?
Yeah,
and the football and baseball.
Yeah, it was the football. Yeah, the Coliseum.
This is why you're losing teams. These guys are pros. They make so much money off these teams. You got to have your own stadium.
I think if I remember correctly, the stadium was built in the '60s.
Exactly, outdated.
Pipes busting.
Well, you could say the same thing about Washington Stadium, but I'm just saying, unless you're like playing at Fenway or your
iconic
or
stadiums.
Cubs Stadium, it's just like Wrigley Field. If you're not playing there, it's time to get a new one. And A's, it's time.
It is time. Your team's been relevant.
It's now or never.
And now it makes more sense. Like why Billy turned the job. Like I'm like, well, like I said, they're leaving. But if this deal is for real, it comes to fruition. They don't leave. What? And my thing was Oakland the A's doing the multiple visits, getting deals together to force the Oakland's hand because maybe they didn't want to leave.
Right.
And now that they're
not leaving, like you said, Billy Beane has such a good repertoire with the ownership there, and he probably likes that area.
He's technically part owner, very small.
Yeah, why would you leave somewhere that he's absolutely, obviously fine with their situation and go somewhere else that you don't even know how it's going to work out? You might hate it. Yeah. So I think that you're right. This could play a big deal into his decision making.
I think the ownership, like, look, we got a deal possibly.
Right.
Like, oh. So maybe I don't want to leave.
And he's in a good situation, too, because how many other guys can say they've been in his position that long?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, yeah.
So
I think that makes sense.
We'll see if what happens. So I guess I just popped my head. I remember Padres have now started interviewing managers. They have interviewed our former manager, Luis Suarez. They also the Cardinals' former manager. And then, they want to talk to Ron Washington, but unfortunately, he's coaching the World Series. Mm-hmm. But another name which shocked me, I haven't heard this name in years. The former White Sox manager who won the World Series with them, Ozzie, why am I drawing the name blank? Ozzie, the Cuban manager.
Guillen?
Yeah. He is being rumored that has been interviewed the job that possibly can become the front runner.
Huh.
I'm like, this dude hasn't managed in years.
Yeah, but I liked Ozzie, man.
He had a terrible year in Miami that 1 year, and then they fired him. I remember that. When that was a terrible, they thought they had something going, and then his 1 year, and they were just dog. But I'm like, wow, where has this guy been? Like, it's just random. Like, he's popped up, like, possibly front runner. I'm like, I haven't even heard his name in a while.
And you're right, man, because, he was in the league in 85 as a player. He played till 2000, and then immediately after that, he was a coach in Florida, or an Expos in Florida, then Florida White Sox, and back to Miami. So he's been in the league from 85 to 2012, and you're right. All of a sudden, he just disappears.
That one terrible year, they fired him, and then he's just been kind of quiet ever since. You really I think he's been on he's been broadcasting.
I think he might have been in broadcasting for sure. But I do think that he was a coach in a Venezuelan professional baseball league from 16 to 17. But the reason they fired him in the Marlins is because I guess he made some pretty harsh remarks about Fidel Castro.
I think I remember that now.
But then again, given the background and stuff, yeah, I'm sure he was like, yeah.
I remember, so the Cuban community or something said something like he was for, I remember something ish with that now. And then they're like, they think they have to let him go.
But like you said, I mean, he got it done for Chicago in 05. They've got the World Series win.
So I'm wondering with that, experience and stuff, that they're looking at him as the Padres, because on paper, this team is one of the best teams on paper. They got some pitching coming back next year from injury. So, being a Latin guy, who probably, has great communication skills with some of those Latin players that Padres have.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting name. We'll see if they go that direction. It'd be kind of shocking, come out left field, hear his name again, then next he's the manager of the Padres. It'd be interesting. We'll see.
All right, man. I got to tell you what Guillen said.
Okay.
This is Guillen from April 10th, 2012.
Yeah.
He said, I love Fidel Castro.
Yeah. I remember something
I respect Fidel Castro. You know why? A lot of people have wanted to kill Fidel Castro for the last 53 years, but that mofo is still here. Yeah, yes. that'll do it, man.
Yes, I remember that because the Cuban community around Miami was pissed. I remember something for Castro. I was like, because it's nothing like he was against him, because everyone would agree with him. That's right. I do remember that now. Well, I think it's been almost 10 years since that's happened.
He said this, according to Wikipedia, this says that after that happened, the Marlins' attendance flatlined after those remarks and never recovered. Although the Marlins actually reached over 2 million fans in attendance that season, the third and so far the last time that's happened for the Marlins. Whoa. Man, you killed him for a decade.
Now. Yes.
Woo, man.
I remember that now.
Maybe that's why they had to change the name to Miami instead of Florida, or instead of Florida Marlins, Miami Marlins. That's crazy. But you know what? If his name is getting floated around and he is up there, I know for a fact he's a good manager. So there's that.
And then you think about floating names out there. The one name for also still getting kind of rough around there for Mets president is the former Giants GM that took some time off, that built that, that 3 World Series run.
Yeah.
He took some time off. Apparently he's ready to get back into it.
Great.
And then, there's a manager that he used to manage for him that took some time off, Bruce Bochy, that if his GM's there could be a chance that he comes Mets coach for a couple years.
I'm okay with that. We'll take the rest of the even years this decade.
So
what's that? 2, 4, 6, 8.
Right.
We'll take them all.
There's names out there. We'll see. But then, so the last thing we're going to talk about, it's so we roughly got a week left of the baseball season, and then you roughly got almost a month until the CBA is done.
I think it expires on the 1st,
December 2nd.
December 2nd. Okay.
So everyone's almost getting prepared. The work stoppage is happening. Because no one, either sides, have offered a deal completely. There's been talks going on since last spring. we're down to a month, and you're almost thinking work stoppage is going to happen. How that's going to affect if the deal doesn't get done for this, the season come January and February, players reporting. It's getting scary.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying that
first time in some 25 years.
Yeah, they're saying the work stoppage is almost certain.
Yeah,
but how long will it last? You know?
That's like hopefully if it does happen, they get because then that makes the offseason very interesting. Like, how do teams spend if they don't know what the rules are? Because the rumors out there's going to be a minimum of $100 million salary for your team.
Yep.
And where the luxury tax is getting shrunk to $180 million. So it's like how but players what because the average salary for players have gone down the last couple of years. It should be growing if the revenue and the teams are growing to be more worthy. Why are the contracts shrinking?
I hear you, man.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to get dangerous, I feel like.
I can't speculate because I don't really recall what would happen in this scenario of a stoppage.
You remember stoppage? It was the Struck year, 94.
Yeah,
during the season.
We were babies.
Yeah. And so now it's like this is all happening before the season. Like, it's going to be interesting if it's going into, you think about, what was it? NFL. When they had the lockout, they missed like the first week of the preseason before they finally showed up to camp. So they got the deal done. I hope it doesn't get that close. We'll see. It's gonna be interesting. So let's enjoy this last week of baseball, and hopefully we get baseball back in regular time next year.
Yeah, let's hope so, man.
So because it's not, it's gonna set it back a couple more years again. So I hope y'all have a good evening or good day. Hope y'all enjoyed watching Game 2 of the World Series. Get ready for Game 3 on Friday. Back in Atlanta. Y'all have a good one. Peace.